Alright class, so today we're going to be solving absolute value inequalities and graph the solution set on a numbered line. So let's go ahead and get started. So we've got one case here and we've got our steps. So step one, we're going to want to make sure that we isolate our absolute value. In other words, we have just an absolute value on the left side. Okay, nothing else. So in this case here, we're good to go. There's nothing else to isolate. Okay, so then to solve for the first case, which is step two, you simply just drop the absolute values, rewrite it. Cool, look, there's actually no math that I had to do for this. We get this here as x is greater than or equal to 7. This was for the first solution. For the second solution, we're going to take what we get here, which is the absolute value of x greater than or equal to 7, and we're going to apply the KISS method. That KISS method means keep it, which what we're talking about is we're going to keep this, the absolute value, or we're going to switch the inequality and switch the value there. So what that'll look like, okay, is we'll see the absolute value of x, because we're keeping it. We're switching the inequality, so we're flipping directions, and we're switching the number there from going from positive to negative. And this is what we're going to be solving. So when we drop the answer, or drop the absolute values, we get x is greater than or equal to -7. And these are our two solutions. So when we graph these, okay, this first one here, x is greater than or equal to 7, we come to 7, we're going to have a closed point because it's also equal to. So we have a closed point there, and we're talking about all the values greater than, so we're going to the right. For x is less than or equal to -7, when we come to -7, we have a closed point because it's also equal to, and we're talking about all the values smaller than that, so we're going to the left. And this is how we do that. So again, you want to isolate the absolute value, solve the first case, okay, which this one was easy, apply the KISS method, solve for the second case, and graph. Let's do another one together. In this case here, we take the equation, the inequality, the absolute value of x is less than or equal to 4. Okay. It's already isolated, so we're done there. So then we'll say x is less than or equal to 4. And that's good there, right? Next, we're going to apply the KISS method here. So when we say the absolute value of x is less than or equal to 4, when we apply the KISS method, we're going to switch the inequality and switch the 4. So we're going to see this as the absolute value of x is greater than or equal to -4. So now we've done that, we're going to go ahead and drop the absolute values. We get x is greater than or equal to -4, and we're done there. So when we graph these, we see x is less than or equal to 4, so I come to 4, close my point, and we're going this way. Talking about all the values that are less than. And for x is greater than or equal to -4, go to -4, close it, and we're going this way. Okay? Let's do another one. It's going to take a little bit more work to do. Okay. Not too bad. Let's do the first step. So we're going to set up the inequality. We're going to say the absolute value of x plus 6 is greater than 7. Step 1, isolate the absolute value. Well, I only see the absolute value on the left side, so it is isolated. So what we could do is we can drop the absolute values and we solve. So we do -6 to both sides. So I get x is greater than 1. Okay? On the other side, we have the absolute value of x plus 6. It's greater than 7, but we need to apply the KISS system. So we're switching. So we'll say the absolute value of x plus 6 is now less than negative 7. So when we drop the absolute values, we're going to get x plus 6 is less than negative 7. Subtract 6 from both sides. We get x is less than negative 13. Okay? So now when we graph this, for x is less than 1, we come to 1, open circle, because it's not equal to, and we're going to the right, because we're talking about all the values that are greater than. For the other side, we go to x is at 13, which is over here, open circle, and we're talking about all the values to the left of it, because we're talking about all the values that are smaller than negative 13. Now let's go ahead and start doing the interval notation, now that we're a little bit more comfortable with the math. So for the interval notation, we read from left to right. So we're coming in from negative infinity, comma, negative 13, or we're coming in from 1 to infinity. And that is our interval notation. Okay? Remember, we use these parentheses because we never reach negative 13 or 1, just like we can never reach negative infinity or infinity. All right, let's go ahead and do one more problem. Oh, wow. Okay, this one has a lot more work for us to do. So let's go ahead and get this started here. We have 9 absolute value of 3 minus k minus 5 is greater than or equal to 67. So the first thing we want to do is isolate. This is important. So to isolate, I'm going to add 5 to both sides first. So we'll say 9 absolute value of 3 minus k is greater than or equal to 67 plus 5 is 72, 72. We then divide both sides by 9. So I get 3, absolute value of 3 minus k is greater than or equal to 72 divided by 9 is 8. Okay, so this is the isolation. And now I'm going to continue the work down here. So I don't want to get into our graph there. So we isolated. This is important. Okay. Now we're going to solve it. So we drop the absolute value. So we get 3 minus k is less than or equal to 8. So I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. So then I'm going to take my work over here. Now don't forget that negative goes with the k. So I have negative k is less than or equal to 8 minus 3 is 5. I divide both sides by a negative 1. So I get k and a negative 5. Now just be careful here. The sign is going to flip because we multiplied by a negative 1 or essentially divided by a negative 1. We did that back when we discussed inequalities. Okay? So now, I don't want to do all this work again. I'm going to take my isolated absolute value and I'm going to work with him over here. And this is we're going to start off for our KISS method stuff. So when I say absolute value of 3 minus k is greater than or equal to 8, I'm going to apply the KISS method. And I'm going to switch here and here. So I'm going to have the absolute value of 3 minus k is now less than or equal to negative 8. So then we drop the absolute value. So we say 3 minus k is less than or equal to negative 8. Subtract 3 from both sides. I get negative k is less than or equal to negative 11. Divide both sides by negative 1. I get k. I get 11. And my sign flips again because we're dividing by that negative 1. So now let's graph these. The first one that we graph is at negative 5, where we're going to use a closed circle. And it's going to the left, because we're talking about all the values that are less than or equal to negative 5. For k is greater than or equal to 11, we come to 11, closed circle. and we're going to the right because we're talking about all the values that are greater than or equal to 11. So for our interval notation, we're going to say we're coming from negative infinity with a parentheses to start, and we're stopping at negative 5 bracket, or we go from 11 with a bracket because we're including the 11 to infinity. Alright guys, I hope this video helps. We will be discussing all these steps in more detail tomorrow. Please be sure to finish your assignment that's aligned to this video, and we will see you all later. Have a good day.